Hello everyone. As you've been writing your problem solution essays and I've been looking at your graphic organizers, I've realized that there are some things that we need to clarify. So I've created this short video today so that you can watch it in class, and I'll put it on the Google Classroom so you can see it later on if you need to focus in on any of the parts so that your essay will be a success. The purpose of a problem solution paper is to, obviously, present a problem and then explain your solutions to it. In order to be convincing, you need to do the following things. You have to interest your reader in the problem. You have to convince your reader that the problem is important and needs to be solved. You need to explain your solutions clearly. You need to convince your reader that your solutions are cost-effective and feasible, and you need to convince your reader that your solution is better than other solutions. To start with, you need to pick a topic. For the purpose of this essay, I've narrowed your focus to one set of problems, those involving schools. Step 2, you needed to determine the problem. Just what's wrong with education in the United States today. Now you may be thinking at this point, there's so much stuff wrong, how do I go about choosing just one problem? Well, to do that, you need to brainstorm. So think about what sorts of problems you encounter in school. Talk to your friends about problems that they encounter. Talk to your teachers, counselors, administrators about problems they see. And then out of all the ideas that you find, choose the one that you are most interested in investigating. Sometimes there's a plan for solving the problem, but it isn't working, or maybe that plan isn't being enforced. The problem doesn't have to be a big one, but it has to be something that you can convince other people needs to be and can be solved, or at least made better. On this slide, I have a list of problems that your classmates have already identified. This list is not exclusive, so it means there are more problems out there than the ones we have here, but this again is what we've identified already. So we have bullying. We have the next issue regarding class sizes or overcrowding and how that affects the relationship between students and teachers. We have an idea about creativity and teacher innovation, as well as the fine arts. We're looking at how school is for English language learners, our ESL program, and students with limited English proficiency. We've looked at money, funding, and lack of resources, parent involvement, or lack thereof, too much standardized testing, and issues involving student behavior, including their attitudes, dealing with at-home problems, how the school schedule affects their behavior, drug use, and dropouts. At this point, if you have not already identified a problem, I want you to choose one from this list that you want to focus on. Step 3. Now you must find a solution to your problem. Once you've decided what the problem that you want to solve is, you have to figure out the solutions. On the next 3 slides, I'll show you many of the kinds of solutions that we often use to solve different kinds of problems. Look through them to get ideas for a solution to your problem. For example, you might think that we need to add something. So give more money, people, equipment, other sorts of resources. That assumes that the problem's cause is a lack of resources. So for example, some of you have suggested that we need more teachers in schools. Conversely, you could take something away and remove the source of the problem, which assumes that the cause of the problem is one thing or one person causing a problem. For example, fire bad teachers, get rid of poor textbooks. Another idea, educate, give information about the problem and the solution. So we assume that people don't know the right thing to do. For an example, we could do a Say No to Drugs campaign, or a bullying awareness one. You could make laws or rules, or enforce laws or rules. You could change the procedure or method for doing things. We can motivate people. We could build something new or work out a compromise or adapt a solution that works. We could change leadership or change attitudes. I think that if you go back through these 3 slides and think about your problem, you'll be able to find 3 specific and different solutions to your issue. Once you finish this portion of it, you've brainstormed your ideas, and now it's time to outline your paper. You've all seen this graphic organizer before. I wanted you to start by thinking about what U.S. schools would look like if the problem you've chosen as what's wrong with education were fixed. In the claim box, describe what the fixed school would look like. So again, what you want school to look like regarding your issue. Then number 2, write down your problem. Your positive idea of school isn't there because of this thing. Then think about what would fix it. So solution 1, and write that in. Think through why that solution still might not completely fix the problem. Write that down in but still. Then briefly jot down your second solution. Think through why this one might not completely fix the problem and write that down in the next but still. And then briefly jot down your third solution. When you finish that, it's time to look for evidence to support your ideas. Again, you've all seen this graphic organizer of the rose box. Readings, observations, studies, and experiences. Readings are texts and websites, blog posts, Twitter posts, whatever you see about the topic that you're looking at. Observations are things you've seen. Films, teacher interviews, administrator interviews, Dr. Butler's presentation. Studies, like the NPR school funding study or other research that people have conducted on your idea. You'll get a lot of fact statistics from these. And then finally, experiences, your school memories. At this point, I want you to have one rose box for just your problem. So again, readings, observations, studies, and experiences about just the problem. Write down notes from each source in the appropriate box, and beside each note, write the source of that information because you'll need that information for your Works Cited page. Next, I want you to create 3 more rose boxes. One for solution 1, one for solution 2, one for solution 3. Again, in each, write down notes from each source, and beside each note, write the source of that information. This will help you make sure that you've got evidence for both your problem and all 3 solutions. After you have your outline and you have your evidence, it's time to start writing your body paragraphs. Good body paragraphs are made up of 3 things: assertion, evidence, and commentary. In order to make sure that you've covered all 3 of those bases, I've given you the template of GEEC, G-I-E-C-C. G stands for general focus, I stands for specific idea or assertion about your general focus, E stands for evidence, a quote, fact, or statistic to prove your assertion. C is commentary that explains how or why your evidence proves your assertion. And finally, C, connect to your next point or conclude this idea. As you write your body paragraphs, you will need to use this idea of connections between ideas and paragraphs. And in English class, we call those transitional words. This slide contains lots of transition words for you to use in your paper. So come back to it if you are having any kind of confusion about what transition words to use. I've updated the graphic organizers because as I've looked at your initial ones, I'm seeing where there's some confusion about what you're supposed to be doing. So the new graphic organizer looks like this. You start with your general focus or problem. You move into a specific idea number 1. All right, and I gave you a template to fill in the blanks on. So write your problem here where it says the problem is a problem in the U.S. today because, and give the first reason that this is a problem. Then go to your rows box for the piece of evidence that you're going to use to support this assertion. Is it from reading, observation, studies, or experience? Circle 1. Write down the source where you got it from, and then drop down to this block using a quotation. What I'm going to get you to do there is look for the different ways that you could incorporate a piece of evidence. All right, X stands for the author. So if the author is John Smith, where it says X, you could say John Smith states or Smith states. If you used a website that doesn't have a specific author, you can list the website name for X. Okay. Choose one of those templates and then include your evidence where the blank line is. Write that in this box. Next, you want to do the commentary, so refer to the evidence that you cited by choosing one of these templates down below to show that you understand what the quote says, and then to explain why and how the specific idea number 1 is a problem in U.S. schools. Again, use one of the templates, explain why or how up here. The commentary is the big part of each graphic organizer. I'm thinking 3 to 4 sentences there. We'll do the same thing for your solution paragraphs. All right. I've showed you the page 2 or the second idea for this one. So I started with another reason schools should, solution 1, is that it will, and then you describe another reason for how solution 1 will fix the problem. Again, support with a piece of evidence, circle reading, observation, studies, or experience, and then source, and then choose one of the following templates to incorporate your evidence. Again, they're the same templates from the problem one. Then you do commentary, refer to the evidence that you cited using one of these templates to show that you understand what the quote says and explain why or how solution number 1 will fix the problem in U.S. schools. Again, 3 to 4 sentences. And then finally, we want to connect and conclude. So we need to emphasize the importance of the problem and connect to your next solution. You'll do this graphic organizer for solution 1, solution 2, and solution 3. Next step, you need to write your introduction and conclusion. Again, there are 2 graphic organizers for those. In the introduction, you want to hook and grab the reader's attention, then transition from that to the thesis statement. In the conclusion, you want to summarize your key points, revisit your thesis, and revisit the hook. Finally, you need to create a works cited page. In order to do that, I've given you a video that shows a teacher step-by-step creating a works cited page using Google Docs. That's the first example here. And then I've given you 2 more sources to help you create citations. If you want to do it the old-fashioned way, or the way that I learned it in high school, you can go to Purdue OWL's website, which explains MLA format. If you want to do it the new, easier way with technology, go to easybib.com. It's especially easy for websites. Just copy and paste the website you use into the citation creator, and it'll spit out an MLA citation for you. I hope this video has been helpful, and if you have any questions, you know where to find me. Thanks.